Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on Nerdy Talk do not reflect those of Anime Herald. Due to strong language, listener discretion is advised. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Nerdy Talk. The podcast is putting otaku back into otakon. I'm Mike Ferreira, and I'm joined by Bryant, Lydia Rivers, and Anthony Simpson.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
How you guys doing?
Okay on my end.
Doing alright.
I'm pretty excited about the news that came out in the past couple of weeks.
You and me both. But before we get into that, I'd like to just offer a few words to Anime News Network. I'm not sure if any of you out there have been following, but Anime News Network was taken down by a major cyber attack on August 7th. The site went down after they were successfully hit by a social engineering attack. Their domain name's been basically stripped away, and the main domain's been basically replaced by this one-pager website with a fairly profane rap track rolling in the background. So, I mean, we definitely had some friends there, and we want to wish everyone there the very best in recovering from this, because this really freaking sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of shitty that basically they got hacked by, because the guy that runs ANN, he basically posted what happened, and basically somebody social engineered that hack with their, and it's basically a customer service representative didn't do their damn job, and that's long and short of it how they got hacked. It's shitty. I mean, I wish them the best, and they're able to get. I know they're up on a temporary, domain. I do, wish them the best, and they get AnimeNewsNetwork.com back up and running in the near future.
Yeah, you guys, make sure you take breaks between your caffeine-fueled rage.
It is unfortunate, though. I mean, honestly, they basically got rat fucked on this one. And something like this, especially working with ICANN records, it is incredibly hard to recover from that, just because you're not dealing with one person. You're dealing with basically a giant international organization that regulates these names and stuff like that. So this can take anywhere from a couple weeks to up to a year. So I'm hoping it's closer to the former than the latter.
Yeah, the other thing too, I think we should mention, although this doesn't really so much affect the site. Well, their Twitter handle was hijacked, but they got that back. Zach Birchie, the editor-in-chief, he wasn't as lucky because his wasn't considered part of the business, and he lost his Twitter account.
Yeah.
Because someone hacked him and posted a bunch of violent messages, though he eventually just decided, he's like, fuck it, I'll just start another one.
Definitely, yeah. This definitely reached a lot further than just the site. I mean, it hit their social media, it hit anything that these people could reach, which it's greatly unfortunate. The biggest loss to them, though, will probably be honestly, while they are taking an SEO hit because all their incoming links just went bye-bye, the biggest loss is probably the email domains, because whoever controls that domain now controls the emails, which means they can literally access anything coming in, which that's frightening when you consider the nature of some of the conversations coming in,
Yeah, that's definitely a big. With the email, you're right. That's definitely a big hit. With because they're not just some little, mom and pop anime blog website. I mean, they're a major anime website. And they're dealing with, people within the industry on both sides of the Pacific. And also Europe and England too, or Europe also. So I mean, it is a shit deal that this happened. I just hope in the future they're able to get these all taken care of and somewhat back to normal running order.
Fully agreed. Yeah, definitely. We all wish them the very best in getting back on their feet. Anyway, on to other news this week. Probably the biggest story that came about this month has been Sony Pictures acquiring the controlling stake in Funimation. I know this is technically July, but it's close enough. On July 31st, Sony Pictures announced that they're going to be buying 95% of Funimation for $143 million. Gen Fukunaga is going to keep his position as CEO, and he's going to retain that remaining 5%. But as of right now, while it still has to clear, the due diligence, regulatory approvals, things like that, it looks like it's going to sail through with Funimation valued at $150 million. And yeah, this is huge. This is a landscape shifting event, if you can think of it. Because let's be honest, Funimation is without a doubt one of the biggest players out there.
I think this is the piece of news that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, and it was kind of so let's kind of go back a little bit. So, a few months ago, we learned, I can't remember when exactly, but we learned that there were two companies interested in buying Funimation, Sony and Universal. Obviously, it seems Sony decided to buy. Now, let's do a little bit of media landscape here. Kind of, I think, at least how we got to this point. So, to make this apples and apples, I'm only going to talk about physical media in the realm of movies and television releases. I'm not going to talk about video games or books or music, since that's not relevant here. So, over the last few years, physical media, more or less as a whole, has been down. Except, there's one area of physical media that's been up, and that's anime releases in terms of sales. Mm-hmm. They've been, and I'm not sure how much of this has to do with simply, anime becoming more mainstream, or anime becoming more accessible, or simply just the collector's mentality of anime fans. But their sales have gone up while other stuff has gone down. Now, over the last few years, I would say, really over the last few years, we've sort of seen a change. We've been seeing a change in the anime market. I'm going to bring this up because this was actually announced not too long after that. Netflix has sort of been kind of getting, over the last few years, had been getting stuff. They've been just getting maybe 1 or 2 shows a season, and then the season after the finish, they air the whole thing. Now we know that they're going to be, I think they announced like 8 shows they're going to be licensed, they're going to be helped produce. One of them is, for example, is a Saint Seiya remake, which I'm actually kind of excited for. But now they're starting to, push more into the anime market, doing, these co-productions. Crunchyroll recently announced they're going to be doing more, get involved with co-productions. Of course, now we have Amazon with Amazon, Anime Strike, warts and all, they're involved in, and they got a lot of money. Funimation sort of got, they got into the co-productions with Dimension W, but we're starting to see the landscape change. And I just mentioned we have Amazon and Netflix, 2 companies that have a lot of money are getting in the market. And in terms of bidding contracts, while it's helping get these shows out there, it's coming a problem because it's rising the cost of what it is to license these shows. And if it just went pound for pound in terms of money, Funimation, Sentai, Discotek, and these other companies, they just can't compete. Well, no, not so much Sentai because they're sub-licensed stuff from anime, so kind of take them out of the equation. But everybody that's left really can't compete with those companies in terms of money, because if it just comes down to a bidding war, Amazon and Netflix are just going to win all the time because they got more money. They got more money than all the other anime companies combined here in North. So, them having that funds, gives them a massive advantage. So, that goes back down, bringing us back to Funimation. They've been around for 23 years. They survived when the bubble burst in 2008. They survived. ADV didn't survive. Yes, I know they exist to Section 23, but ADV didn't exist, or they ceased to be. Geneon went away. CPM went away. A few years later, Bandai closed shop, although that was for other reasons. But they left. But Funimation's still around. Zomi's still around, and somehow I don't know how they're still around. Media Blaster still sort of exists. Whatever they're doing now, they're sort of still existing. So obviously they had a good, Funimation was in a good financial standing to survive that, and obviously they're still in a good financial position now with doing all these simul dubs every season. If from what I've heard from people that work there, at least the actors, they're released from or have heard secondhand. All 8 or 9 other their studios that they have do dubbing. They're eventually doing double shifts. They're doing a day, morning/day shift and a night shift to record all these shows. So financially speaking, I'd say they were in a very good position. That said, we are right now in another bubble with obviously the cost to license these shows is increasing, and again going back to it with Netflix and Amazon being in, and of course last year, Crunchyroll and Funimation started a partnership to sort of take on, with Amazon to deal with their, gargantuan amounts of money.
I don't know. I kind of feel like they were hitting a wall, to be honest.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean it's evidenced by their lagging behind actually delivering digital content. And even as simple things as account managements, they weren't handling the technical aspects very well at all.
Are we talking about Amazon or Funimation here? Because I want to make
Funimation.
Oh,
you're kind of wandering around over there. We're going back to Funimation for a second.
Okay. And no company's perfect. I mean, I'll say that. I mean, they all make mistakes. I know they have been. Obviously they got their new service that they rolled out, using Sony's products. And of course the CR partnership, the Crunchyroll partnership.
Right. I feel like they kind of reached the end of their rope with what they could do with
possibly
what they had. And so, what do you think, Mike?
Personally, sorry, I've been just kind of letting us all play out between you two. Honestly, I think Funimation saw the writing on the wall. I mean, at this point, like Anthony said, we are smack in the middle of the bubble. We've got license costs going through the roof. We've got Amazon literally buying up entire programming blocks for undetermined periods of time. I mean, they have Noita. They have what was the other one? Animeism, was it? I forget what the other one was.
Something like that.
But they're buying entire programming blocks for what seems like indefinite periods. So, I mean, this is a company that we're going up against Netflix, who is basically putting in for some of the must-haves over the next couple of years. You have Devil May Cry Baby, you've got Baki, you've got the original stuff. I think it's like Project B or something like that. Or anyway, but I mean, you've got that financial might of two multi-billion-dollar organizations that are bearing down, and at this point, Funimation, I can definitely see Gen Fukunaga seeing the writing on the wall, because let's be honest, I mean, at this point, they've been through this before. They've seen this song and dance happen, so
they've already done what they could do, and they needed to
exactly
join forces to do more.
Exactly, they needed the help of someone much larger and more powerful just to stay in the game at this point. I mean, I can see the Crunchyroll partnership as kind of a first step toward that, possibly something. I mean, this is all speculative, mind you. Just a disclaimer, this is all speculative. I don't have any insider knowledge. But anyway, I could see the Funny Crunchy partnership is kind of the first attempts at making some sort of a bellwether like this. Some sort of way to get through this oncoming storm and come out at least somewhat alive, you know? I mean, because when his bubble bursts, there are going to be very few survivors.
Yeah. I mean, well, Netflix wasn't getting a lot more involved until recently.
Yeah.
I think we all pretty much guessed the only reason why the partnership is they saw the writing on the
I thought they
wall.
were sliding until their most recent announcement.
But I'd say the partnership really, I'd say started really was more of a way to deal with Amazon at first.
Absolutely.
Because Netflix, they got stuff, but it was just like one or two shows, and they didn't even air in the season that they showed, and they always aired the next season.
Right.
I don't know if that's something with anime they're going to stick with, or if they're going to go start doing like what everyone else does and start putting stuff out as it airs. I don't know.
I don't see him simulcasting just because this is a format that works for him.
Let me rephrase it in here in North America, because I know in Japan some of the stuff they do simulcast.
Oh yeah, because they do weekly broadcasts in America too. I mean, Chelsea Handler has a weekly TV show, and Letterman's getting one. So, I mean, it's definitely not a matter of whether they can do it; it's a matter of whether they want to do it more than anything.
I don't think they're going to have.
No.
I think eventually they're going to have to.
I'm inclined to say we'll wait and see, because at this point it's clear that they're not comfortable putting out something without a dub attached. Little Witch Academia, we waited until the first season was dubbed. Violet Evergarden, we're waiting for the first season to be dubbed. Let's see, what else have we got? The
same thing with say both seasons of that. I don't know how it's going to work with their upcoming stuff, if they're going to do the same thing.
I'd say it's pretty safe to say that they're going to be doing that for the foreseeable future, because the problem is, especially in North America, I'm saying this specifically for North America, they have the reputation of being the binge company. I mean, they put something up so you can watch through it all and get in, which works great to an extent, but for anime fans, it just pisses them off.
Because a lot of people, I know a lot of people just go alternative routes to get their stuff. Now, I don't. I wait. If it's something I want to watch, I'll just wait till it's out.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
But all the casual anime fans I know prefer to binge.
Right.
Again, some shows do work a lot better in binge format.
Right.
And that varies on the show.
I think that this would work a lot better for them if they're a bit more upfront about it, instead of, basically pretending like these shows don't exist until they're ready to release them. I mean, don't forget, they also weren't saying anything about Little Witch Academia, at all.
That's true.
And
which I think is a mistake.
Never mind
suddenly.
Never mind the fact that the entire social media channels, I'm not sure who you guys follow, but let's be honest, when that show was on the air, every week you had gifs from each episode, and it was clear that people were getting their stuff elsewhere. And the fact they don't even address it, the fact they just... It's almost a sense of arrogance in a way they're distributing stuff that it goes up a lot of people's asses the wrong way.
Yeah, Amazon sort of was that way. I think also first. I don't know about analysis. I don't use Anime Strike because I won't.
Because they're terrible. Because they can't even program their subtitles to be in sync with the audio.
Yeah, or like when Pony Cane USA calls them Anime Strike instead of Anime Strike.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, anybody can make that mistake. But I can see if it was Anime Stroke because I and the O are right next to each other. But that's another story for another time.
It's a typo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
But it's just that's the thing I don't get with Amazon now is they got all the money. Okay, they got a shit ton of money to play with. They can put stuff in advertise. They can advertise a little bit and say, hey, like on their main page, it's like should be like, hey, watch this show. I just wish they would decouple it from having a Prime thing, and you'd have two separate.
Well, I think I brought this up last time, and this is again a disclaimer. This is not my view. This is from people I've talked with. Please don't sue us, Amazon. This is something that again. Is from people I've talked to, people I've had discussions with, people that have worked with or do work at Amazon. Amazon doesn't give a fuck about anime fans. Let's be honest. This is literally just a funnel for Prime subscriptions.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious just from watching their stuff.
Yeah,
that they don't.
Yeah, because the thing is, and it's like I go back to, they have the money. They have the money to have the best platform.
Oh, yeah.
They have the money to have the best sub service. Yet they don't. And I think that's what frustrates me so much is that they have all this stuff, but then they just say, fuck it, we're not gonna.
Exactly. They have the content. They have the stuff people want. I mean, they have shows that
The
people.
channel's an afterthought.
Exactly.
It's an afterthought.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, well, the good thing is the stuff goes on High Dive or whatever it's called that Sentai has. At least it goes up there sometime afterwards. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a crying shame because honestly, like, they get stuff that people want. I mean, they have shows that people that I would be grabbing people, putting them in front of the screen and saying, watch this. They get stuff like Welcome to the Ballroom. They get Anonymous Noise. They get Scum's Wish. They get Dive. They get these grade A, fantastic shows, and no one watches them because it's on anime strike.
Or they just go the alternative routes to watch it.
Well, yeah, I'm being a little naive there. Let's be honest. People watch and they just go yo ho, because yeah, let's be honest. Which, yeah,
Some before take Nodame. That was not licensed until last year in the U.S., I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so people in North America had to go yo ho, and the fan subs for Nodame were really well done, from what I hear. And then, so I go to check it out once Amazon finally added it to their catalog, and yeah.
Yeah,
And that's just through, the desyncing issues and them not translating background text with overlays and etc.
yeah.
Not advertising their titles. Obviously, we could gripe about them over and over and over again because we have.
Oh yeah, this has become kind of a regular point of contention for us. And yeah, I mean, honestly, Nodama Cannibale is a wonderful show. It's a fantastic series. And yeah, I highly recommend people watch it, but it's just not subtitled well under their banner either. I mean, and I say this coming from, that was one of the last of the. Was it? No, this was the fan sub back then was quite literally a labor of love. I mean, that was a great version. I mean, I'm not trying to advertise a pirated version, but they did a good job. And to go from that to Amazon felt like a downgrade.
Either that or wasn't it licensed in Australia? Use
I
their subtitles.
Yep, it was licensed in
You get
Australia.
on the
Yeah.
DVD.
Man has it, doesn't they? Don't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. That was we're way off topic now. What are we actually supposed to be talking about?
We were talking about Funimation being bought by Sony, but I think we kind of beat that one to. I'm not sure if we beat that one to the ground just yet.
I don't have a sense of trepidation about it. I have a sense of excitement.
No, because we kind of went off track with other stuff. So I'm going to kind of give my thoughts on this one. So there's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to be concerned about. So I'm going to kind of talk about what hoping happens, and then I'm going to talk about my concerns. So the biggest thing I see, at least the biggest plus, is obviously it's more money. They're going to have Sony money. So that means that they're going to be able to, go a little more pound for pound with Amazon, Netflix in terms of licensing.
Maybe, dare I say, better directing for their dubs?
I think they got good direction, although Christopher Bevins is leaving, which is kind of sad.
Well, maybe it's not so much the talent that's the issue, is the, again, the time equals money thing. It would be nice, I think.
Possibly, but we'll... So other thing with more money, also not necessarily just also is getting more license, more infrastructure stuff. So that means, better, more access for servers. I know they are working on improving their new streaming apps, so they're working on that. But another thing might be in terms of infrastructure is some of their releases. Maybe we can start to see I know they do sort of the ultra premium sets occasionally, but having more money means maybe that's something they might be able to do, more of for some shows. Another thing I see possibly as a positive is they're getting their films out more wide, dispersed in terms of theaters, because they're getting their anime films are now starting to be more. I'd say starting to get a more widespread release in theaters here in the United States and Canada, because Sony, the TV version I bought is a subsidiary of Sony Pictures, so possibly that means we could start to see maybe more of the films that Funimation license. Possibly we could see that more on the big screen. more widespread releases instead of just like one night only here in this city or a weekend showing here. You get to see a more, maybe not like week after week after week run like the Hollywood films, like the Hollywood blockbusters are, but possibly get to see more more widespread release.
Can I interject for a sec too?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd also say Sony's money helps on the film end, because this is something where they can. I'm going to just kind of go off on a small tangent here. Does anyone remember that Your Name, how it basically got snubbed at the Oscars and all that?
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. Half of the Oscar nomination process is political.
Yeah, it's just old white guys.
And let's be honest. Sony Pictures would be able to help by putting out a proper for your consideration campaign. Yeah. They'd be able to grease the right palms, get those nominations where they need to be. So that would increase visibility and increase money coming in.
I say comments about old white men being a 32-year-old white man myself. So, so the other big thing was, and I think Justice of Vegas brought this out, is getting access to do co-productions. A few years ago, Lance Haskell, after he left Funimation, I think I don't know if he was on his own or he was working for Tursi at the time, or he still does. He made a comment right around when Dimension W got announced, saying that you're probably going to see, co-pros are kind of going to be the thing as a result of these rising licensing costs. And we now also wasn't too long ago, Crunchyroll announced they're going to be getting more involved with co-productions. But having Sony sort of own you as a way, as a major majority stake owner, say Funimation wants to do more co-productions. Well, Sony can open a lot of doors. Maybe where they tried before and they say, hey, we want to co-pro this. An anime company might be, or somebody over in Japan might be like, yeah, no, I don't think so. They're a bit hesitant on it. Now having Sony sort of being, they have Sony money and also Sony connections, that might mean getting that foot in that door might be a hell of a lot easier. So now that I've talked about things I'm really excited about, let's talk about some worrying things. So the big one I'm worried about is, let's say something happens, Funimation doesn't do well, and Sony says, fuck it, we're closing you down. So that could be, that's a thing that could happen. The other thing possibly is, I see could be is some stuff with the production end. Because we know we've sort of seen when Hollywood does, except sans Disney in some cases, deals with some stuff with anime releases. It's not always great. So there's concern that Sony might say, Funimation people, get the fuck out, we're putting our people. The other concern I see them is that possibly they just get rid of the people running Funimation, they put a whole bunch of new people in, and it just goes down the shitter. So I'm a bit, I had to sort of agree with Lydia that they kind of did, and I also had to agree with you too, Mike, that they saw the writing on the wall, because again, Fukunaga's not stupid. He's run this baby for 20-some, this is his baby. He's ran for 23 years. He's been in this business long enough to know, what's going on. And they already survived the bubble once. Could they have survived it a second time? Possibly. Maybe they may not come out as in a great position if the next one happens. But I think this is a way to hedge them that when it does happen, that they'll have something to keep them from staying alive, as opposed to going, oh, Funimation ceased to exist. Oh, and then we lose them.
Mm. So
I'm kind of, and again, we should also stay tuned. It still has to go through the regulatory process, but so I'm best case scenario is that Sony just sort of lets Funimation, and from what we've seen, which is just supposed to be a bunch of legalese, they said nothing's changing. Disclosure here, not that I work for Sony or own Sony stock or do anything for Funimation. I can kind of give my own experience with some things. I've been with the company. I work now for about 11 years now, and we've gone through, at least when I started there, they were going through the process of, they were already going through the name change process of being bought out. And since then, they've been bought out 3 other times. And they were right when they said, we were told nothing's going to change, from the standpoint of, we're not getting rid of people, except just some people at the top. Stuff, executive stuff, which same thing happened here with Funimation. Some executive stuff changed hands, which is normal with that's normal with buyouts because that happens. So at least from my experience, I could say that sometimes that's true because nothing's happened. Now, in this case, it's a PR release. They're just going to say that. Now, do I think nothing's going to happen? Best case scenario, I hope that's true. I hope that they don't sort of let them, Sony doesn't get too handsy with them. Because they know Funimation knows what they're doing, and they've been around for long. They know how this industry works. Worst case scenario, like I said, they shut them down, or Sony takes over and it turns into shit. So that's my 2 cents on this subject.
I'd probably say the worst case scenario is actually not quite them shutting down, but more the talent bleed if things change too much. Because, there are a lot of people that work behind the scenes that we don't even think about. The people that are getting a deal signed, making negotiations with Japanese entities, things like that. That's probably your most valuable entity in a company that's working strictly in foreign imports.
Which I want to kind of interject on that a bit. If anyone hasn't checked it out, there's a extra that Funimation put out with when they released Attack on Titan, which I actually really applaud them for. Though it mostly deals with Attack on Titan, it deals with some other stuff. It deals with some of the back end stuff you don't see. They deal with this guy named Andrew. I forget his last name, but he is the guy that basically he takes the checks to Japan when they license something. So he kind of went on the whole process of how they license. How stuff, because he's like, well, I see everything that comes across my area that gets released. Or it's going to be released.
Link to that.
It's an extra they had on their thing. I don't know if it's on their website.
Oh, well, wasn't an article? Okay.
No, it was actual. It was on their I think it was on one of their it was on their Attack on Titan release.
Oh, it was a DVD extra.
Yeah.
Okay.
I recommend anyone watch it because it really gets it. Not like they don't go in contract, but it goes into him talking about, he's like, I see 40. I look at 40 shows a season. I see everything that comes out. I see the early bits of the stuff comes across my desk. So it goes into that. It talks about it talks a bit about the translation thing. They have one full-time person and then they just freelance. And then basically when the freelance person comes on, they sort of tell them, okay, this is what you're working on. So it goes into that. It goes into about the scripting, the turnaround and doing the script. So it's a lot of, and then there's some other back end people, which I thought was a really nice thing that they did because we usually think of, when you think of release, it's, the director and the direction stuff and then the voice actors. But you don't really, the people behind the scenes, it's not something you see too much of. And I think that was just a really nice touch they put on to kind of give you a little bit kind of behind the curtain of okay, sort of here's how things, again, not getting into, too much detail. Here's how things work.
And deciding on that content, which you liked so much, is another example of talent that could bleed. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, too, it's different now with streaming because even I think, Justin Rollins mentioned this. He mentioned this at their, he mentioned this at one of the, I think at Anime Ball ago at their 20th anniversary panel, where it's changed a lot because it used to be before the streaming was a big thing. You know, they got to see stuff after it was done. Now that's not the case. Now it's you license something and go, well, hope it's good.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Quite honestly, I was hearing that stuff in the early 2000s. I mean, back in the early days of Anime Boston or some of my first Otakons, David Williams used to talk like that. I mean, he basically said, yeah, things have changed. I mean, as of right now, we used to be able to get the full look at the shows, make our full decision, but we're at the point where it's so competitive, so cutthroat that we have to basically pray for a hit. And that was a sentiment that was echoed across the board. I mean, I heard that from Dave Williams. I heard it from Chad Kime, or Kime, however you pronounce his name. I heard it from Jerry Chu. I mean, that was something that's like back at the height of the bubble, the first bubble. So it's kind of amazing to see the parallels now.
Yeah.
So instead of carefully sculpting the content that they offer, they basically have to make a mad grab.
Yep. Basically.
And some stuff also still is probably package deals. I mean, I'm pretty sure package deals still a big part of it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get our big show, but you're gonna get 2 or 3 of our titles that we don't expect to perform well, type of thing. Like and it becomes obvious which ones are from the package deals.
But I mean that happens. I mean, I guess it's just nature of the business.
Oh yeah, I still love hearing the story. I heard this in a conversation with Chad Kime on one of the A&M podcasts way back in the day, where he was talking about how to get one of the high profile shows, I think it was Helsing back in the day, they had to also get Miffy, where they're sitting there saying, it's basically like a little cartoon bunny, little X for a mouth. Very
Can't say I've ever heard of it.
Very kid friendly.
Helsing comes with Miffy.
Yeah, and they were trying to figure out
there must be balance in the universe.
They were trying to figure out what the hell to do with it.
Yeah, one of these is not like the other. Can you guess which one?
Exactly. I'd be wondering what the hell to do with it. It's like, okay, we suddenly have a kids show. What the hell do you do with it?
That's an untapped market too. Is some of them kids shows, I think. But that's
the problem with the kids shows is this. I actually at Anime Boston talked to Lisa Ortiz, and she mentioned this. The problem with the kids shows is you have to edit them for the U.S. because, unfortunately, let's be honest, U.S. kids are not Japanese kids.
Yeah, well, and that's only if you put it on television.
Right, but that's the thing. You're trying to get that TV market if you're doing a kids show.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, let's be honest, if you're going to be doing stuff for kids, it's going to get demonized by people like us because we want the pure uncut version, which...
Yeah. Although if you're rare and you don't get something that goes on television, you know...
Oh, yeah.
Like when Funimation got Puzzle and Dragon Cross, you know, that... Which I think that's a kid's show, though that didn't get on... I thought that, and like, you know, that would be a great... I mean, I know because we have the games over here, and I'm like, you know, that would be a good show to put on TV, and then there's like an episode where you see a guy's like bare ass, I'm like, well, I'm sure that gets censored out.
Exactly. I mean...
And then, of course, they haven't got the rest of it, and I was pissed.
I think the last pure kid show I've watched was Hamtaro. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, I would pay... I'd pay good money if someone brought an uncut version of that. I'd pay good money for that.
That show went places.
Me too.
Yeah, I miss that show.
That show went places. I mean...
Yeah.
But... Yeah, it's really just a tough situation because you have these entities that when they do bring them over, let's be honest, we all shit on them. For better or worse, we shit on them because we want the uncut versions.
plus, well, too, you also realize that we can't in some cases because you're going to want in some cases keep things consistent between, say, the games, like and the games and the anime. Like, I'll give an example. Much as I love to see an uncut Pokemon release, that is going to happen because, let's say, Kid gets the games and say, "Oh, look, it's okay, I know I'm going back to Gen 1 Pokemon. So I'm going to say, oh, look, it's Squirrel. Oh, look, hey, it's Pokemon. Why is this thing that we call Squirrel not called that in this language?"
Exactly, but also a lot of it's dealing with very, very heavy-handed branding companies. I mean, let's be honest, it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're dealing with broadcast S&P, which, bringing up one more story just because I seem to be full of them today, but in the 1990s, there was a Canadian show called Reboot.
Oh, yes.
It was basically the first TV series that was fully computer animated. And the people at Made for Entertainment, the group that made it, were constantly sparring with ABC to the point where Standard Practices became like the internal villain. They actually had a character in the show during season 2, I think it was, that was basically spouting out rejection quotes from their Standard Practices division as a means of just dumping on them.
Oh yeah, you even see that on stuff that's aimed more an adult, not like I remember one, and you see this like on other TV shows. This is a problem. Like I remember with Seinfeld mentioned this with some of their extras. They mentioned like in some of the episodes they couldn't say things, and then they said a lot of times with Standards of Practices, it's like basically it's a give and take. Like, okay, I'll give you penis, but you can't say that. You got to give me 2 of these. You got to give 2 of these words. It's a give and take.
Mm.
I mean, it's like anything else. They're going to they'll say, okay, well you get this. Okay, well you can't do this. So it's just a give and take of what they can say, what they can get away with, what they can. It's and then of others had it, like Howard Stern made it, many times. He's had censors, over, S&P he's dealt with when he was on terrestrial radio. That's, we don't even have to talk about those because they're numerous.
Mm. Absolutely,
and his fights with the FCC, we know all about those.
All right, absolutely.
So I mean, it is the thing with media. It's a give. I mean, it's a give and take. I mean, it's really with any. I think it's just the problem we have more with anime is because they're trying to. I mean, I'm not trying to speak on behalf of you guys, but I think it's just they're westernizing it so much, and it's like, well, if I want that, I'll just watch a Western cartoon. I'll just.
Right.
I'll watch something else.
I can see that end as well, but the problem is, unfortunately, you're also pitching these things to network executives that don't give a fuck. I mean, favorite,
they don't, because they're old white guys. They don't care.
My favorite thing is going back to the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Everyone says, "Oh yeah, it was highly Americanized, it was highly changed." Well, Marvel Comics tried doing a straight up dubbed version of Battle Fever J, which was a show that came up a couple of iterations before Power Rangers or Drew Ranger. But when they showed the dubbed adaptation, they got a response back from one of the people that was modern saying, "How could you show us this garbage? You who brought us Muppet Babies." And
I remember. I have like the couple sets that of the Power Ranger got out, and one of the interesting ones was Tony Oliver was on about talking about how they would only just use like they just have like the costumes from the story, and they use a little bit from the Japanese, but then they could basically they would take that and they could just basically make whatever story they wanted. Right. They had like almost within reason of TV stuff, and they're aiming for their their age range, but they could just basically sky's the limit whatever story we wanted. It's like, okay, we got this character, okay, well let's make something with that.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of. In some ways, they had a lot of freedoms with at least, just using the costume. Well, they had to be careful with costumes because they said sometimes they got them and they were almost falling apart.
Yeah, I believe that.
But yeah, they just basically tailored their stories because they said we could just. He's like, we just said not free reign, but he's like, we could just sort of make whatever story we wanted with what we were given, because they would just use whatever, the stuff from the Japanese. The stuff like the battles, and then everything else was just okay. We'll just craft something around that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's honestly it is shitty. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not. It's just unfortunately our TV industry is kind of fucked in the head too.
Well, yeah, but I mean but we're just never going to see those uncut releases. Some of those things because, again, like I mentioned with the game, like with Pokemon, there you don't want where the games say one thing and you have the anime saying something else.
Right. You don't.
It's going to confuse those. Because say, like I said, someone plays the games like, well, why are they calling this creature different? We don't call it that.
Not only that, but you also got some spicy content that really wouldn't fly here.
Yeah, because well, I have comments I can make, but we're going to refer because I don't want people coming after us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway,
I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to deal with the riots like they're dealing with Virginia.
Ouch! Too soon, dude.
Sorry.
Too soon.
Well, I wasn't making any comments about Nazis. So.
Too soon.
Anyway, on a note of branded content, Daisuke is apparently closing their doors on Halloween. Daisuke is basically the sole North American distributor for Idol Master Cinderella Girls, as just, kind of try and tie in for that. But basically, they made that announcement, and that was, here we go, the first of the month, actually. HCJ announced that as of 11 a.m. Japan time on Halloween, which is technically 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific on the 30th in the U.S., they're just gone. Lights are off. Everything's done. With the last scraps of Daisuke disappearing on December 15th.
How impacted are you guys going to feel about that?
Not because I never used it.
I'm crushed.
Okay. I feel bad for anyone who's going to lose their job. That's terrible. Here's my problem why I never really used Dice. So, they had an Android app. Here's the problem with it. I had a Bondi account. So, because if you had a Bondi account, you didn't have to... You could sign in on the website with your account. But you couldn't do that on the Android app. And I couldn't create an account because it said you already have an account created. So, I'm just like, well, guess I'm just not going to use them. So I really never used Daisuke. And I mean, like I said, I feel bad for anyone losing their jobs, but I mean, otherwise it's just like, well, that's the thing that's gone.
Yeah, I've never used them either.
I used them once or twice, but honestly, they were such a non-factor that I forgot they existed.
Yeah, because they really never got... I mean, I know they had a couple exclusive things.
By the time I started getting back into anime, I don't know, 4 years ago, they weren't even anywhere on my map.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Honestly, they were a thing. That's about all I can say. They existed. They had a couple of unique shows, but I still don't see what the point of the service was. When we have not one, not two, but three very viable streaming platforms already. With Funimation now, we have Crunchyroll, we have whatever High Dive ends up being next, It's just, at this point, they were literally a solution for a problem nobody had.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's already... Yeah, because, I mean, in here, I think it was always good for some people, like, in countries where, like, Crunchyroll didn't have shows or Funimation streamed stuff. I think they, were able to get shows in those regions, but... I mean, just here in North America, the market's so crowded.
Right. I mean, I could definitely see that being more important for international markets because...
Yeah, like Southeast Asia, I think it was... They got a lot of shows in Southeast Asia that Crunchyroll didn't have.
Yeah, that's the big loss. They're going to be surrender... Because this was originally ACJ. I mean, they were an industry group that was devoted to just spreading the word of anime and combating piracy. That all kind of changed when Bandai Namco bought them out, apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel bad for anybody who's going to lose their legal way of consuming anime.
Likewise.
Well, actually, I want to bring this back with... I don't want to bring this back to Funimation and Sony. I actually was just thinking of something. So Sony owns Animax, or at least owns part of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that they air like some Funimation stuff and other company stuff. So now the fact that that Sony's going to have a controlling stake in Funimation, that might mean we might see stuff on Animax. So in some cases, you might see some of the market. You might start to see Southeast Asia get a bit of. They might start getting more Funimation stuff.
Very true. That is a possibility.
Yeah, but they've showed other stuff there. They've showed stuff like Sentai's licensed, like they showed K-On! And that terrible Animax stuff that it got. Or the bad Animax stubs for Gundam Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try, which are garbage.
Oh man, Animax's dubs, those are legendary.
Yeah. Although Nodomi, the one you were talking about earlier, the Axopposer was the best one, but but I guess that's not saying much when all of them sound like something you used to hear at CPM doing the 90s. It's not hard to.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of bad when the best compliment you can give is, it reminds me of something I heard in the 90s. Honestly, I've seen several of their dubs because in the last days of Bandai, we started seeing the Animax dubs pop up instead of the bespoke dubs from, say, Ocean or something like that. So
yeah, we got those 2 or 3 Omex dubs we got, which were terrible.
Oh god, yeah, Dando
and Karen,
yeah.
And I'm still pissed at that anime. That ending still pisses me to this day. Which I recommend. If you haven't read the manga, I do recommend that. The manga.
Yeah, the manga is very good. It's Chibi Vampire in the US, isn't it? Or they rename it?
That's what it's called. The anime was just called Karen, but yeah, it's Chibi Vampire.
All right, just want to make sure I got my naming conventions right there. But yeah, the manga's good. The anime ends on a frustrating note, to say lightly.
It just pissed me off because it was like spoilers for the ending here. It pissed me off because it's like it was built this heartfelt thing, and it's like, nope, vampires just got better constitution. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like I was at my mom's were watching it. That happened. I almost took the remote and threw it through the TV. So I was like, fuck you. You were on the good end. Maybe it would have still been sad if they died and that was it. That still would have been terrible. But it's like, you're built up to it, and it's like, oh, fuck you, we're gonna do 180. It's like, ugh.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes when you get endings like that, you just wonder if the creators ran out of steam or coffee or booze or some kind of coping mechanism.
Well, unfortunately, some of it's also too because when you have stuff that's not finished, you're either with the original ending or go read the manga ending. So it's kind of a.
But even
we can just smell the good enough from here,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's a difference between having a good enough ending and having an ending that actually closes the series. I mean, honestly, yeah, we all hate the read the manga for more information stories because, let's be honest, 9 out of 10 of us are not going to be reading that manga.
Yeah, I don't really read manga anymore.
But I'd rather take that over something that's so half-assed that it's not supposed to be there. I mean, I've seen my share of those anime original endings, and they are fucking awful half the time. I mean, you can tell that these people weren't expecting to have to write it, is the best way of putting it.
Yeah, which is really funny because they start out knowing the material they're going to have at the beginning of the season.
Exactly. And it's even more egregious in a 26 episode series. Like, look, you got two courses to fucking do it. You had more than enough time to write a real goddamn ending to the show.
Yes.
And I'm not just saying it's a dump on Karen. I'm saying it's a dump on all shows like that.
Back with I was checking with Nodomi Kentali called Siren Visual.
Ah.
I haven't heard the dub. Were you talking about the dub before?
No, we mentioned before who licensed in Australia.
Oh, okay.
All I know from that one is it's like the best one Animax has done. So, but that's not saying much. So,
Yeah, that's like saying that your car only has 2 busted pistons instead of a blown motor. Of course, honestly, we have some winners in the US for dubs too. I mean, we've got Garzy's Wing, which is a national treasure with how bad it is. And we've got Food Wars.
I haven't listened to so.
The preview they gave was more than enough.
Yeah, I know I haven't watched anything Food Wars related either. So,
Have you guys watched the live action Nodame? It's actually pretty good.
I haven't yet, but it's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
No, because I usually
Really
don't
cute.
watch. I usually don't watch most of those because we don't get most of those live action things. So, anime ones, so I don't usually watch them.
It's on. It's Crunchyroll had it last time I knew.
Huh, I'll check it out.
Yeah, that's cute. It's pretty well done. I clicked on it with great trepidation, but I wasn't disappointed. It's like I don't know if I was in a masochistic mood or something, but yeah.
Actually, no. Look at the dub. The reason it was the best one. And the domain that one there apparently looks like it was a California dub.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because I'm looking here. We have like Karen Strassman, Laura Bailey, Mona Marshall's in there. There's like a bunch of people.
Nice.
Huh. Interesting.
Dick Mignogna, Bryce Pratt. There's a bunch of people in there. So
Where is the dub right now? I didn't see it on
it's
Amazon.
not. It's not. It's it says Internet Streaming Crackle. I don't know if it's on there. It aired in Animax Asia, so that was probably.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you get those weird things where we don't get like, where 2 different people do dubs, like one for here and one for elsewhere, like Dragon Ball Super, where we have, Otakron 5000, which is Chris Sabat's studio, does all like the Dragon Ball stuff now. They're doing the stuff here for US, but then like Bang Zoom's doing Dragon Ball Super for everywhere else. Which I'm not kind of sure why on that, but.
I wanted to check it out.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's just a competition thing. Like, they don't want to have to pay the fees to whomever to pull in the dub. I mean,
Could be.
It's
Then
kind of
again, they did the same thing with Kai, where it was like stuff was done here, but then like all the other stuff I think like international was done like up at Ocean Group.
right.
It's a good candidate for a dub, though. Yeah. Oh well.
Well, anyways, the Daisuke, feel bad for those people who worked it or liked it. For the rest of us, yeah.
Anyway, any final thoughts on this Daisuke closure, or?
No.
Alright, yeah. We wish the employees the best, but we just won't miss the service much. Alright, and one last bit today. This weekend that we're recording is Otakon. Thousands upon thousands of people filed to DC for their first Otakon in the city, which is fantastic. They've been needing a bigger venue for a long time, but yeah, there's been some surprising news come out. And surprising me, I actually got a good night's sleep this weekend, because usually I'm up till the wee hours of the morning transcribing. But yeah, I just wanted to reach out to see what you guys thought was the biggest reveal for each of you.
Well, for me, there was a couple. I think the 2 biggest for me were that Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny are getting new dubs to match the rematch, because they're going to release the remaster version at some point next year. And because the remaster version of those shows doesn't gel or doesn't match up perfectly with the original ones, because 2 less episodes and some stuff stuff's done differently. That was a surprise, and some people seem to be pissed about that. For me, the other thing was that we have We learned that Gundam Wing is getting a very expensive release at the end of the year.
$250 SRP, 170 something right now.
175. Which I will say it's a very nice set. That said, I'm not getting the set because I don't like Wing all that much. It didn't age well, and I watched it, I think, too late into my time as an anime fan to really have an effect on me. Like, I only just watched Wing, like, for the first time, like, 5 years ago. Like, I saw one episode, like, 17 years ago, when it was airing on Toonami.
Yeah,
I mean, it was in the middle, it was, like, sort of in the early episode, but that was, like, my first exposure to Gundam, at least in that perspective, but it didn't really, like, I kind of didn't know what was going on. I did pre-order the regular sets because I'm not justifying spending that much money on a show I don't like. The other news I was very happy about is that we're getting G Gundam next year on Blu-ray because from what I've seen the pictures, it looks a hell of a lot better than the last Bandai sets they put out.
Dude, you could literally just draw on Crown and look better than the Bandai sets at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I mean, it's like massively different, and I'm not a huge fan of like the alternative continuity Gundams. G Gundam is one of my favorites. Like, that is just always one of my favorite shows of the franchise. I'm just gonna be so glad when I get those Blu-rays in my hand.
G Gundam was a lot of fun. I mean, it's campy as all hell, but I love it.
Well, yeah, because it's basically what if Gundam was actually Super Robot.
Exactly, and it's in some ways, it's kind of just generally hilarious to see how some of it plays out, too. Like, it's...
Well, yeah.
You can tell that they just said, screw it, it's going in. I mean... Yeah, and it's also the most racing going.
Yeah, it's the last... Yeah, that's the thing, too. A lot of fun ethnic stories to be had.
Oh, yeah. No one is safe.
Yeah. But that said, I like it. It's campy and it's fun, and when they created it, the love for it shows. I mean, it's not just like, yeah, okay, let's just get this out. I mean, it's one of my favorites. You know, at least from the alternative continuity, the non-UC stuff. It's one of my favorites. I mean, there was some other stuff I saw, like Vizslice is something I thought Sentai was going to get.
Mr. Osamatsu?
Yeah, that does to me seem like something Sentai would have licensed, but I was mistaken on that one. Now I know from what Mike Toole said we're not episode because they didn't get the first episode in the Japanese release. So
yeah, that saddens me because that first episode was brilliant.
What was the reason why it didn't?
Well, the thing is, in Japan there is no parody law. You have to get permission from the creators to do a parody, and Gintama's gotten in trouble for this for a lot of times, actually, and where they just went off half-cocked and did it. But some of the parodies, particularly for Attack on Titan in Episode 1, and Episode 2 was Anpanman, got to the point where it had started getting the legal gears grinding. They actually had to make public apologies and retract the first episode, and heavily alter the second, which is kind of sad, because I mean... One of my favorite moments of that show no longer exists in it, where it shows a Decapon man trying to give this girl a Karanto, which in the way they drawn it looks like he's trying to give him a turd. I mean, he's trying to give her a turd. It was just a stupid visual gag, but I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, but that was it really for me for stuff I was really surprised by.
I was happy that that Discotheque rescued one of Yoshitoshi Abe's titles. Nia, sorry. Rescue me.
Nia under 7.
Dying. Yes, thank you.
Oh man, that is a good show. That's one where it was one of those pioneer babies that just disappeared once Genion went belly up, which is a crying shame because I stand by anything by Abe puts out, whether it's Haibane Renmei or even though he just did character designs out Lane, anything he touches tends to be quality.
This is actually one that I missed of his, and so I'm really happy to have a legal chance of experiencing it.
I am right with you. I missed it back in my high school days because, well, I was a poor ass high school kid at the time. I mean, we're talking at a time when you'd get 3 to 4 episodes for $30, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
And I never watched the series, so seems I missed out.
Yeah, I actually watched it when it went up to Vista, and I'm glad I did. It's sadly no longer up there, but it is really freaking good.
Well, hopefully they'll put up on Crunchyroll and I'll check it out.
I hope so. That's a show that deserves a wider release. That's one that people should be watching. All right.
How about you? You got to see it all. What were you most excited about?
There were, honestly, like I said, the biggest thing that made me happy was the fact that I could get some sleep because the number of announcements was incredibly tame this year. So anyway, joking aside, there were a couple of big surprises for me. Number one was Nozomi and Pied Piper are working together on a Kickstarter to dub Aria the animation. Now, I say this, I like Aria, but it's the anime equivalent of Lithium. It's a show that you will watch and you will fall asleep while watching. And that's okay. But I'm kind of glad that they're trying to work to kind of get that out to more people because, well, yeah, that's cured a lot of insomnia for me. But
Nice.
otherwise, I'd probably say the big ones were Discotech putting out this 30th anniversary edition of Robot Carnival, where they're getting both, trying to get as much as they can. They're putting together a new documentary for it. They're playing around with branching paths to see if they can get the original plus the 2 different streamline cuts in there. They had Justin Savakis and another player completely remaster this thing with a brand new 2K master. Robot Carnival is one of those absolute landmarks. It's a very important film because this is one of those things where back in the day you had 9 different creators that they basically gathered. Let me see, it was some really big names at the time, including Katsuhiro Otomo, who did obviously Akira and Steam Boy. You had Kojimori, you had Yasumi Umetsu, the guy that did Kite and Mezzo Fort. You had Koji Morimoto. I mean, it was a who's who of anime names coming together for this one overarching project. It was beautiful. It was poignant. It would rip your hearts out at points. It was fantastic. I mean, I am looking forward to that very much so. Otherwise, I'd probably say while NYAV's redub of Seed is fantastic, while Gundam Wing's big box set is really cool, I'd probably say the biggest surprise of this weekend came from Discotech again, who announced that Team 4 Star is actually producing the English dub for Hells, which came out of left field, because, I mean, Team 4 Star is best known for doing, Dragon Ball Bridge, Hellsinger Bridge, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge. They definitely know what they're doing, but I don't think I've ever seen them do, like, a straight-up serious work like that, like, serious adaptation like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Lydia.
Oh, no. I was just going to agree. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm more or less just interested to see how they do, because over, I would say, really the last several years, we've started to see people who aren't voice actors by trade or, have any real professional training or I shouldn't say professional training, but people who are doing like YouTube shows or such as that, we're starting to see them do anime work. Funimation did with the first season Attack on Titan. They brought in some people who done they've done some YouTube shows. Then we have stuff like Super Sonico from Sentai, which had Jessica Nigiri, or however her last name is, I can't even pronounce.
Nigiri,
yeah. She did that. And we've also started to see people who've done these like abridged shows, those type of things now are starting to do voice acting. They're starting to come in the talent pool. So I am interested in perspective how Team 4-Star does. Now I've never heard anything they've done. Like, I don't watch bridge series anymore. I got out of that phase years and years ago. So I don't know how their quality is. I'm assuming obviously if they're being picked, they're good quality.
They do good work.
Yeah, but I'm not unsurprised that we wouldn't see a group like this get picked, because, as I said, we're starting to see that people doing these shows now, these like British shows, are now starting to do voiceover work and in anime. So I guess it was really a matter of time. It wasn't really, I guess, a matter if. It was just a matter of when you would see one of these groups get picked to do something.
Very true, but I think I'm more shocked that it's Team 4-Star, because honestly, they already do quite well for themselves, and they tend to have a very busy slate with just their straight up abridged series. Not to mention their Let's Play runs, their side shows, stuff like that. They get work. They do work, which kind of shocked me. And Hell's does seem to be right up their alley. It's an interesting feature, but the tone, the overall presentation would work with what they do, I think.
And that's part of the reason why I'm happy to see. I guess, would you call them side players? Is that insulting? I don't know. Into the voice industry, because the more variety there is, the more specific and the best fits we can get.
I won't call them. I mean,
good dubs.
I don't know if I necessarily say side players. I mean, getting
They're
newer.
not in the major groups,
Well, yeah,
that
'cause,
Funimation regularly accesses.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we're starting to see those people who do some of that stuff and now are starting to get into that. They're getting into the. They're starting to get into the becoming a They're starting to get into the talent pool. Maybe not on a regular basis, but starting to get in there. So I think that's good, because we're starting to see more talent come in. And it's not that the talent we have now is bad. I mean, it's really good talent, but it's starting to see newer faces, newer people into the coming in and doing into the. Now I don't know who. I know they're. So I don't know if it's something like that they're doing remotely, or if it's something like they're going to somebody's studio to do stuff, because I don't know where Team 4-Star is located. Like, I don't know, because I don't think they're all probably together, so I assume they're probably all they don't, they're all probably different locations. So I mean, it could be a case where, and we know some places do it, where they have like studios in their home and they record stuff there and send it in. Because I know that's how Bryce Papenbrook does some of his when he gets picked for simultaneous for Funimation. He does stuff out of his home out in California. And we know I think they're the same thing with Todd Habercorn, because he has his own studio out there. But I'm just curious to what recording studio is actually like handling the dub. That's what I'm kind of.
I'd imagine they're going to be doing it internally, with among their team, their own setup. By the way they phrase it.
Well, yeah, but
I believe I'd imagine that it's going to be just straight up their current process with because their quality is fantastic. Like, overall, their quality is fairly good. And I wouldn't be shocked if they just, did that, sent it out. send out the finished recording to him. I'm just speculating at this point, though.
This got me. Sorry, I'm quiet because I'm looking up to see what Christy Reed's up to. Speaking of dubs. But yeah, the more variety, the better, I think.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Let's see. What else hit this week? I mean, those are like the big ones for me. There was one that kind of went under the radar, but I know...
Is it Bananya?
Bananya is the most important anime ever. Just kidding.
Well, I think what's interesting with that one is Mike Toole's dubbing that.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
Which is good for him. I'm glad. I'm glad for him to see that happening.
Yeah.
He's dubbing Bananya?
He's doing the narration, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
He's a good guy.
So is this a creepy cute, or is it just a cute?
It's cute. It's very cute.
Is it cute enough to make my brain melt?
Probably.
Oh, Lord. I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's up on Crunchyroll.
No! Really?
Yep.
Oh. I'm totally not gonna go look at this before bed tonight.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think the one thing that kind of hit me, I don't think this is actually really talked up anywhere, but at the beginning of the Tercy panel yesterday, Robert Wood had confirmed that they're working on an HD remaster for The Irresponsible Captain Tyler.
Well, I think I mentioned before, because I know they said earlier in the year, I think they're going to be not, Nozomi's not going to be doing like any more DVD releases, including Blu-ray only.
Right, which, let's be honest, it's time.
Yeah.
It's only been what, 10 years now?
Yeah, plus Discotech's been sort of doing with SD on Blu-ray. I don't know how that. I say that I don't know how it happened yet, or how that looks. I have something that one of their Samurai Pizza Cuts, which they released that way, and I've yet to watch it. But
It's serviceable.
Yeah, I mean that might be an option. That maybe I heard some before. I know they were mentioning before they were doing a remake of Irresponsible Captain Tyler. I don't remember when it was announced. I don't want to say it. I don't think it was, but I can't remember specifically when it was. It was recent.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was around AX.
It might have been. I know it definitely slipped under my radar, which is kind of a shame because I friggin' love Captain Tyler. I adore that show more than I really should.
But not the movies.
It's been a long time since I've rewatched.
I still watch White Christmas every year. That's still my favorite Christmas special, I think. But yeah, that made me happy to see. Anything else stand out to you guys, or?
No, I was pretty calm, relatively speaking.
Yeah, I thought we'd get more announcements, but
yeah, honestly, I was kind of worried when I saw the giant torrent of stuff from Aniplex of America, because they just hit pow, 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 pow. Like, I actually saw the press just hit my inbox, like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna be a busy weekend. So I'm kind of glad as a writer. I'm kind of glad because it means that I could actually sleep this year. So hooray!
Hooray!
But I'm hoping this doesn't turn into a trend where we end up having literally everything hit at AX, because then I won't sleep at AX.
Do you normally?
Probably not.
No.
Let's see.
I don't think.
Let's see. During AX, my average time to get to sleep was around 3 in the morning this year.
Going back to AX, I was right. They did announce do that.
Alright, cool. So I must have just missed the announcement. That was a nice surprise.
Yeah, it'll be the TV series and the 10-part OVA were released in 2 Blu-ray discs in 2018.
I'll be buying it.
I probably will too.
I'm a sucker for that show.
I need to rewatch it one of these days. I'm too busy with other things. I'm too busy with the Gundam.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have, to be honest.
Yeah, well, when you have like 8 reviews.
Yeah, I'm with Anthony here. I do feel his pain because he
has to edit my reviews.
Well, not that, but let's be honest. I've been putting out 5 to 6 articles a day for the past 8 months, so I don't have much time to watch anime anymore. It saddens me.
Yeah, well, my shift changes. I mean, I'm actually, it's interesting because I'm actually still managing to watch anime because now I work a different shift than I have been. But now it ends up being more that I watch anime before I go to work, and then if I have time, I'm usually watching anime after I get off. So in reality, it's in a way a win-win because the way it was before, it was I'd only watch after I get off work because I'm not going to be getting up, say, when I was getting up, like, say, at 5:30, I'm not going to get up and watch anime before I have to be at work at 7.
Right.
Where now, since I don't go in till 9:30, I can get usually an episode or 2 of something in before I go to work, and then if I have time, and I get an episode of something in, and then my weekends end up being the bulk of my watch periods.
And you're spending that precious time right now on Kado.
You son of a bitch.
Hey, I have other backlog. I got backlog shows. I got 7 shows this season I'm watching. One which I'm not dropping because we talk about it.
This one, it starts out okay, and then you're gonna regret it.
I'll reserve judgment. My tastes are odd, so I'm gonna reserve judgment.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing it later. If only for another chance to trash this show.
But yeah, my watch schedule now has changed a bit, so I'm sort of it's just I'm watching it differently, but
I'm really enjoying Sayuki Reload Blast this season.
I think I have like 8 shows this season I'm watching.
Let's
Wow.
see. I've got 4 or 5. Let's see. I've got Classroom of the Elite. New Game Season 2, just because, well...
How's it?
Watch the first season, see if you like it, because it's basically more of the same.
Okay.
I kind of fell in love with just the general workplace comedy, because it's what I do. Let's see. Restaurant to Another World, which I'm really, really digging.
Yeah, I love that show.
I
was wrong. I originally had 8, but I actually show.
Let's see. I did start Sayuki Reload Blast on a lady's recommendation. So yeah, I think that's 4. There might be one I'm forgetting, probably a short form or something, but
yeah, I have 7.
Yeah.
One being Classroom of the Elite, which if it really wasn't for this weekly discussion, because the only other show I dropped was Gamers.
I dropped Gamers like a hot potato.
I just didn't find it funny.
No, I tried watching it, like, why am I wasting my time?
Yeah, I got to the end and I'm like, yeah, no. Let's see, what do I got? I got, well, Classroom of the Elite. Restaurant to Another World, which is great. A Sunchar's Life, which I'm liking. Fastest Finger First. Tenshino 3P. Now this one I switched over to the dub because I actually liked it a lot better. My First Girlfriend Gal. It was my Thursday show. Now it's my Sunday show. Is Convenience Store Boyfriends.
I just noticed something. Whenever it talks about the show we discuss for our weekly meeting, we have that defeated sigh at the end.
Well, not all of them. Not all the shows.
Well, no, this particular one, no.
Well, this one, yes, because none of us, because I don't care.
I think
Last
I was
room of
happy.
the block?
I was happy talking about Drifters.
Oh yeah, I love Drifters.
Talking about Dragon's Mates because that was great, and I love talking about Tutor because that was fun.
Oh yeah.
This show, it's just like no.
This show, we're all sitting there like, why? Like, I think I've had more profanity-fueled rants during the meetings with this show than any other.
And and I'm getting, and our last one, which I talked about something which I know happened about. When I was talking about the Ice Queen lady, was talking about fighting multiple people.
Yeah.
Which is true because I used to study karate, and I know all about, attacking multiple people is a lot harder than just attacking one person.
I mean, I don't want to be sitting here judging the show, but I'm going to sit here and judge the show. It's a half-assed attempt at being smart. I mean, they try and put in these big character turns, and it doesn't work because they roll them right back.
I have an interesting angle here. Let's look at it from this. Are we this fed up with it because we're old? Like, if we looked at it through young, fresh eyes, would we still be fed up with it?
I think so.
I would too. I think. Yeah.
Well, I was saying this yesterday in our discussion. I don't know how much of this has because this is a light novel adaptation, so I don't know how much of this is, an issue of it's the fans of the light novel. Because, that's a possibility. I think I might have still been upset, although I think it's my issue is just because meritocracy doesn't actually exist. And when I was a lot younger, I had a lot of different political opinion than I do now. I leaned in a completely different direction. So I think maybe in my younger days I might have liked it. Like when I was an early, I thought of it like, one of those deep shows, and then now I don't. Because that has nothing to do with me because I lean far to the left. It's just simply I'm not happy with the show because it's not a great show.
I think it's just super frustrating for me because they take something that could be interesting and they seize it and they dangle it in front of us and then they drop it and never mind. And then they wander away.
Yes, exactly. And the one interesting character that's left is the goddamn teacher, and we only get 20 seconds of her per episode now, which I love her. She's amoral. She has this very dim look on the world like any normal person would.
I'm 100% sure that she has a soft heart that's completely eclipsed by her incurable cynicism.
Exactly. I like her. And the problem is that this is a show that's afraid to lean into what it does.
Yeah.
And it brings these big revelations on like that. Like episode the one I keep going back to is Kushida, because it's the best example. You have this girl, I called it in episode 1, I said, oh yeah, she's gonna turn heel, because she was like Miss Sunshine and Rainbows and Bubblegum Happiness in a place where unicorn farts don't fucking exist. But they do this sun turn to the point where it's almost comical. Like,
oh my god. Yeah, I facepalm so hard.
To the point where it's literally comical. And then they forget, they just act like it never happened after that. At all. You don't see anything of it in her. You don't hear any talk of it from the characters anymore. You see little things like, oh, you answer this person right away. Well, no shit, she's got black. But anyway, but it's like,
Well, Well, the main character isn't, because she threatened she was gonna threaten that he raped her.
Exactly, but I mean that's
so he's obvious. Then again, he doesn't seem like he
Yeah.
gives a shit about anything. So
yeah. I mean he's the type of person where he'd take that position like, okay, that happens. Let's be honest, the guy's got the personality of wet Kleenex.
I mean, he got fucking stabbed, and his only thing was ow.
Yeah, I mean this is a guy whose favorite ice popsicle flavor is going to be plain. Let's be honest. But yeah, I mean, and they just drop it. I mean, that's potential for a very interesting character dynamic where you have this girl that's literally just acting like a happy, perfect, cheerful, bubblegum person in public, but deep down harbors this resentment and loathing. And if they handle it better, it could be an interesting, multifaceted character. But nope, that didn't happen. We're just back to happy-go-lucky. Even when the two characters are 100% alone, it happens.
Yeah. So, like, I can't even go through the entire episode and be bored because it's constantly doing things to not so much anger me, but irritate me slightly. And then it doesn't even irritate me completely. Like, I can't get a complete anything from this show.
Exactly.
It's annoying. Well, except for that bit where Kushida did how they handled that whole scene did completely anger me.
Oh yeah, that was awful. That was legitimately insulting.
Refer to our chat for that.
Yeah, refer to the meeting for episode 3. There will be a link in the show notes, guys.
That was the most distinct.
I was not part of that episode because I was not feeling well.
I think that was one where I just started ranting for a while.
Yeah, we did.
And I think a lot of the frustration stems from the fact that we all see a nugget of a potentially good show here that just is just too afraid to embrace it.
Yep.
Like, I think, honestly, my biggest frustration isn't bad shows, because I can enjoy a bad show if I take it for what it is. What really irritates me is a show that has potential to be really fucking good and just doesn't take it.
Yeah, we don't want to blow it off, but we kind of have to.
Exactly. I mean, I don't want to dump on the show. I want to like it, but at the same time, it keeps doing things that infuriate me as a viewer, as a critic.
The animation is so good, too.
Yes. And
the facial expressions and the eyes, all the eyes are gorgeous.
And again, the concept is fantastic. I mean, I like the idea where you're in this dog eat dog world where, I mean, let's be honest, it's how any corporation works. You kind of scheme and, you know.
There's so many plots that could happen there, and instead they waste time on how non-personality the main character is.
And not only that, but they waste time on characters nobody gives a fuck about. I mean, I don't care about Sudo, do you?
Which one's that?
The basketball player that screams at people.
I thought he was okay because he's the only one that has the sense to actually rage about this ridiculous system.
Yeah, true.
I mean, because I'd be raging too because meritocracy doesn't exist, but that's
right.
So I thought he was interesting for at least expressing the sensible reaction.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because I mean, we got, you know, indifference make a difference face, and he doesn't.
His default expression is meh.
Yeah, he just.
And he's not even like a natural meh. He tries so hard to be that meh to the point where he even has to convince himself by talking to himself in a meh voice.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to bring political stuff in here, but for God's sakes, Mike Pence has got more personality than him.
Whoa! Shots fired.
I don't like Mike. I hate Mike Pence. He's got the enthusiasm of a wet paper bag, and he's got more than the main.
Shots fired.
He's got more than MC here says that. I say that not wanting to throw up on my own throw up here on my computer.
Oh, the guy has no personality at all. I mean, don't forget, this is also the guy who got 2 phone numbers from probably the 2 most attractive girls in class, and he said, "I got 2 phone numbers from girls." Oh no.
These are my first phone
That's it.
numbers from the girls. I guess I'll keep them.
That's
but-
it.
Like, I mean, and that they waste time on showing us that. What is the point? I don't
Exactly.
understand. Besides showing us what a douche he's trying too hard to be. I don't know.
I know. I mean, God, it's awful.
So yeah,
And yeah, it's just we want it to be good. We're just not seeing it.
tiny, tiny little sparks of potential, only to be deliberately stepped on and squashed, and
Yeah.
then doused with water.
Oh yeah.
That was a little histrionic, but sometimes that's how I felt.
Oh, I think it's pretty common among the group here. It's just we want to like it, but we can't. It's like that kitten that smells like garbage. You want to love it because there's a lot to love, but it smells like garbage.
Aw.
That poor kitten.
Yes, it has the cuteness factor too,
Mm.
with a good animation.
Exactly. There's just so much potential that gets wasted, and
wow.
it saddens me.
We'll get to gripe about it again next Saturday.
Yep, that we will
The next episode.
for the next few weeks.
Until it's done.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to binging on Hellgirl though.
Oh God, yeah. I am looking forward to that. I had to stop because like I want more now.
Yeah, exactly. I hovered my finger over the first episode play, and then I'm like, no, if I do this, I'm really gonna hate myself at the end of. So
Yeah. Shoot. Any final thoughts this week?
No. No.
All right. All right. Well, I guess that's our show, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Till next time, this is Mike Ferreira signing off.
This is Anthony Simpson. Sign our bye-bye.
Lydia Rivers, everybody stay shiny, and give your neighbors a hug this week, okay?
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.
I can't believe we just started dumping on Classroom of the Elite again.
Yeah, well,